This show will be lit. Right, all the way from Canada. Big up to you, bro. Bring on, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Good evening. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, bro.
Okay. Good evening to the boys. I'm currently not, in Lagos. I'm in Ibadan, so it's an impromptu visit for me here. Also, an impromptu show that we're having. Good to see the boys, the Arsenal boys on live. So let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it before we fly over to Twitter. I tell you, Christian Shuku is ready for us tonight. We want to learn. We have to learn. All right, let's go straight into this. Arsenal still in the title race or top 4 race. Talk to me, Prof. I'm going to start with you. Talk to me, Prof.
Look, for me personally, they're still in the race. It's not over.
Which race? Is it title race or top 4?
No, they are still in the title race.
Oh,
they are still in the title race because mathematically, I can't be speaking. I have to speak as a sports analyst. So mathematically, obviously, they can still win the title. Do I think they would do it? 6 months, 7 months ago, I already thought they wouldn't be able to do it because I knew that there will be a resurgence of Liverpool. And I said Liverpool's attack for me is too much for us now to compete with. And I knew obviously we also have the enigma of Manchester City there. So I've always been of the notion that they have very little margin for error. I mean, Arsenal Football Club this season, they would have very little margin. And to be losing games against West Ham and who else? And West Ham and who did they lose the game against the last time?
West Ham.
They lost West Ham. And this last match that they lost.
It was West Ham.
Fulham.
Oh, Fulham.
Yeah, so to be losing games against West Ham and Fulham, then for me, I do not see them challenging for the title. I think they're going to be in the top 4 race this season.
All right. Top 4 race. You can look at the table right here, right now. Okay, look at the table. Liverpool 45 points, Aston Villa 42 points, Man City 40 points, Arsenal in 40 points. Okay, is it looking good for Arsenal? Is it looking good? They are still in title race, or we should be looking at top 4 race. Okay, talk to me. You're loud.
Yeah, I mean, right now, truth be told, it's not looking good. But it's not the first time that Arsenal under Arteta have been through a rocky patch. But, coming at the back of last season where it seemed like they bottled the title, the expectation of Arsenal fans, of maybe some Arsenal fans and a lot of critics was that Arsenal should be gunning for the title again, and hopefully this time not bottling it. And then it seems like there's been some sort of regression. Aside the playing style, but also, in terms of number of points earned at this stage of the season. But most importantly, I think something that most people are starting to notice now is the performances, team performance as a whole, and even individual performances. But then again, look, for every process, there's always a rigorous aspect. And, according to the plans of Arteta and Edu, they're not at the finite stage yet. So for now, it's going to be a bit difficult. But the question is, what's going to happen when they get out of this? Or can they even get out of this stage? That's one question that is left to be answered. The January transfer window is there. There's going to be the aftermath of AFCON and the Asian Cup. Players are going to return from injury. But most importantly, what can Arteta do with this crop of players that he has? I mean, keeping in mind that this team finished second last season. So, and they qualified for Champions League football. They're back in Champions League football. They are in the title mix. The FA Cup is coming up as well in a couple of days' time. Look, time will tell.
All right, time will tell. Do you believe time will tell? Title is still in hands of you guys, or you just want to feel Arsenal should just look at top 4 at this moment?
Really, this is my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion.
Absolutely.
I've been watching EPL for the past how many years? Let's say over 20 years, and I have never seen this sort of reactionary. I've never seen this kind of motive. Yes, I'll say there's a motive behind it because looking at our group, we all know all of us that constitute that group, and we all know the team we support. into the halfway into the season, already you can conclude a team that is not going to contest for the title, or we've already concluded a team that cannot win the title. I have never seen this kind of competition or permutation in my life. Because looking at this season, it's quite different as compared to last season, where you had only Manchester City and Arsenal. The other teams were poor. It was a race between, even right from game 15, we all knew that it was between Man City and Arsenal. Now, the landscape is different. The landscape has changed. In this case, you have the margin. Look at the difference between the first position and the fifth position. It's just 6 points. And if you look at the table as at this time last season, the position between the first position and the fifth position, even between the first position and the third position, was wide in terms of double digits. So in putting context into this, I may be wrong, you could just help me look at it. But me, I like to put context into things. I don't just like to, like maybe because of my background, I back things up with data. I back things up with facts. I didn't just talk out of the top of my head or because of the way I feel emotionally. So if I'm to juxtapose this in terms of what has been labeled, because for me, the jury is out. If you're saying Arsenal cannot win the title, it means the jury is out and there is no going back. So if I'm to use that same logic and say Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United are relegated as at this time of the season, how am I going to look like? I'm sure a lot of people will call me clowns. Or let me just say something else. If I say Chelsea, I'm using this as an example because we have a Chelsea fan in part of this conversation. So if I'm using that logic and I say Chelsea, after 20 games, with what I've seen, Chelsea will finish 10th position or below. I bet you a lot of Chelsea fans will come for me. But if I'm as an Arsenal fan and I'm saying that the race is not over, Arsenal can still win the league, you call me delusional. So at times I get confused. The way we talk about, the way we analyze football nowadays, the way we talk about football, the way we go on social media, analyze, do things, I am not taking the fact that Arsenal have been poor for the past 2 games. And I'm stating I'm being cautious with the statement I'm dropping. I am not saying Arsenal has not been poor for the past 2 games. Any Arsenal fan who is pleased with what they saw against West Ham and against Fulham should be questioned if he's a true Arsenal fan. With what I saw, I was disappointed. And it's just to show that this guy is a human. He's a face. Arteta, does he have that credit in the bank to turn the tide around? Yes. I'm not going to throw my toys out of the pram. I'm not going to say because Arteta lost 2 games, 2 London games, all of a sudden, it's over. Get out. You need to be sacked. You're not doing anything. You signed this. You signed that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to support the team through thick and thin. Please go back to the table. And this is what I'm going to use to make my point. 20 games played, Liverpool 45 points, Aston Villa 42, Man City 40, Arsenal 40, Tottenham 39, 6 points difference. At this time, I can't pinpoint myself. With what I have seen, Man City thus far have lost 4 games in the EPL. Aston Villa, they've lost more than 4, if I'm not mistaken. Liverpool have only lost 1. They've drawn how many? 3. Arsenal have lost 4. I don't know if you can get a full comprehensive table.
Okay.
And to see, because right now I'm trying to contextualize things. You cannot just say categorically that Arsenal, out of these 5 teams that are picked, Arsenal is out of the title race. It boils down to Liverpool, Man City. I'm a football fan. I've been watching football for the past how many years? And I dare to say, 20 games gone, the title race is still open to these 5 teams that are pointed out.
Okay, so quickly, Didon, I would like to...
Talk to me, Prof.
Yeah, you have spoken well, but I have a lot of things to disagree with him. A whole lot, First off, if you say you've been watching football for a long time, experience should naturally tell you that a young manager in Arteta, who is almost 5 points behind City, if City win their game in hand, is 5 points behind Liverpool. If City win their game in hand, I think it will also be 5 points behind City, right? If you've been watching football for long, you should naturally know that a young manager who is fighting against monsters like Jurgen Klopp, players that have done it before, likes of Van Dijk, monsters in De Bruyne, Haaland, and Pep, then experience should tell you that you're running already at the back foot. So people
Let
like
me
us
just
who
jump in
project.
there.
No,
Let me just jump in.
Let him finish.
No,
let
you
him
can't
finish.
jump in.
Why
Let
are
him
you just
finish.
selecting
now.
only
You can't
Arsenal?
jump in now.
In
No,
my
hold on.
analysis,
Hold
I
on.
mentioned
Hold on.
five
Please,
hold
can you
on.
mute him? Can you mute him?
Hold
Why
on.
are
Hold
you
on.
just jumping
Can you
on
mute him?
Arsenal?
Can you mute him?
Hold on.
Please, can you mute him? Please,
Hold on.
mute him. Thank you very much.
All right.
Please, let's be civil. Let me finish, right?
Yes,
we heard you finish. Let me finish. So when you're fighting against monsters like Klopp and Pep, people like us project because of experience. The problem with Arsenal faithful is that they don't learn. And look, truth be told, Open knows deep in his heart, where you're 5 points behind, you're running a very difficult race for a manager that doesn't have the experience of winning this title. He held it 1.5 hands on it last season, and it dropped from his hand. And now you're telling me half season is already almost 5 points behind, losing to games. If you want to win the title, you don't lose home games to West Ham. You don't lose away at Fulham. You don't do that. It's as it is as that. We know. I said it still last season. They will lose. They will drop the title. They did. So now I'm saying it again now, and it's arguing. At the end of the season, we'll see it. Arsenal Football Club, right at this moment in time, except if they change things. And I'm going to mention 4 things quickly that they need to change. First off, the manager needs to calm down and stop overthinking things. The tactics that he used last season for me has been found out. Now I'm speaking tactically now, and I'm trying to address the issues that he have. Saka and Martinelli have been found out because they are playing too wide, and by the time they get it, they have no support. They have no players to overlap and support them. Those tactics were used last season, and they got away with it. Managers and coaches and other players, they won't sit down and allow Arteta. They won't sit down and allow Arsenal play that way that they played last season. So everybody's finding a way to nullify them. At this moment in time, Saka just gets the ball and he cuts it back. Martinelli doesn't have the space to take on players anymore because no overlapping fullbacks. Arteta doesn't have a plan B. I think he needs to go back and look for a plan B. Ben White has not been helping Saka properly. They don't have a proper left back. Zinchenko is injured. Jakob Kiwior cannot play there. So tactically, he has been found out and he needs to work on that. The signing of Kai Havertz, rubbish signing, wasted money. Kai Havertz will give you goals today, a goal next tomorrow, but it's an absolutely rubbish signing that he should have spent that money on either buying a replacement for Bukayo. Look at the way Pep is managing his players. Today, he might use Ake. Tomorrow, he might use Akonji. He might use Foden today, rest Grealish tomorrow. This man has been managing players for the most important time of the season that we're about to enter now. And you will see what they will do. Today, Diaz plays, tomorrow they don't play. But you're sucking out Saliba, sucking out Saka, sucking out Rice because you don't have a capable replacement to give Bukayo Saka a run for his money. Bukayo Saka starts every game, and now we can see the performance has dropped. So he wasted 65 million on Havertz that would never ever decide games for you. It would never ever be consistent, and we are seeing that already now. So for me, I'll give them an advice: go into the January transfer window and go and get a striker.
Again.
You cannot win. Yes, they have to spend money. You cannot beat these people in front of you. No matter the delusion that you have, no matter the thing, no matter the fan support, no matter the bias, you would not beat Liverpool or City if you don't go into the market and buy
get ready.
capable attackers. But Jesus and Nketiah, it will be an insult for you to win the title with those two people. I'm telling you the facts now. It will be an insult to carry the Premier League title with Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah, where we have Haaland and the likes of Gakpo and Nunez and Jota scoring goals after goals. You guys need to go into the market, get a proper striker. Already count your losses on Kai Havertz. You've wasted 65 billion. Go and spend money and buy a proper midfielder as well. Somebody replace Granit Xhaka the way you're supposed to be replaced. That's my advice for them.
All right, let me quickly read this from Michael Akintayo. The reaction about Arsenal has escalated to an unbearable degree because of the perennial capitulation of the EPL titles by the Gunner. Last season was the last straw that broke the camel's back.
That's the fact. They capitulated
talk to me. Okay, you want to react to this?
Yeah. It's so funny to hear Prof speak so passionately about a club that he does not support.
I love people. I love people.
Oh, okay. First of all, I laugh at Prof's statement when he said it will be a travesty for Arsenal to win the title with Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah. Did Leicester City not win the Premier League with Jamie Vardy, Riyad Mahrez, and
how much goes to this score? Okay, remind me. Who was Enzo Ferrari that season?
No, I'm just saying.
Please. Remind me who scored.
No,
hold on now.
No. Forget.
You will not answer that.
I will touch it.
You will not answer that.
Touch it.
Okay.
Let me land.
He said he's going to touch it.
Let me land now. I understand the angle which you are coming from, but you see, you call the names of those players. Yes, there is outputs in them, but then again, when you call the names of Jesus and Nketiah, for what purpose? Compared to those crop of players, I'm not talking about titles, but I'm talking about ability. They're not far off from these individuals. That is just the truth. Maybe Barry and Mahrez, but the rest are not far off in comparison. So I laugh when you mention the names of those two strikers and say,
Leicester City was a one-off season now. It was a one-off season. You're comparing Leicester City to us now.
Hold on. This same Gabriel Jesus was at Manchester City, and Pep won the Premier League with Gabriel Jesus in the squad. Yeah, you can say Pep is a much better coach than Mikel Arteta. Fine, that's okay. Another thing you did mention was the fact that you basically you put the whole blame on Mikel Arteta. Really, the blame cannot be on Arteta, because if you watch the All or Nothing documentary, you will know what this guy is all about. You would know how he goes into details. You will know why we have certain coaches and whatnot. A lot of times during the season, especially last season, the players were to blame. Is it Thomas Partey? Is it Granit Xhaka? Is it Rob Holding? Was it Aaron Ramsdale? A lot of players could be held accountable for different periods in that season. Even this season as well, a lot of players can be scapegoated simply for not getting into form. So you cannot put the whole blame on the manager. It is absolutely impossible. Second of all, you mentioned that our pattern of play this season has been found out. That is, if you truly watch Arsenal, that is bullocks. Because we are totally not playing the same way we were playing last season. It's a totally different pattern of play. Obviously, number one, there's no Granit Xhaka, but most importantly, Mikel Arteta has started to push the team to the final product of what he's looking at. And that's the type of football that we have been playing this season. So it's not about, teams haven't found anything out about Martinelli and Saka. Martinelli and Saka individually are finding it difficult to pick from on their own. Saka on his own has had a niggling injury for weeks that he's playing with. You are saying Ben White is not supporting Bukayo Saka properly. Last season, did you see the link-up play last season? Earlier this season, on this platform, we're making an argument about Ben White and Kieran Trippier. Ben White has played less games than Kieran Trippier and has more of an impact in the team. Mind you, this season, Ben White is not even playing as an out-and-out right back. He's not even inverting for us anymore. So there are a lot of things that are going wrong, definitely. But to signal out the manager alone and to signal out just the strikers alone, no. That's not it. The fact is that for Arsenal to do better this season, yes, certain players do need to be signed. They definitely need a clinical striker, in my own opinion. They need someone that can deputize as a number 6 and a number 8. And probably they need someone maybe just for defensive cover fullback, just for 6 months till Timber comes back. The way Prof has spoken about this Arsenal team, it's as if, it's going down the drain. I mean, look at the table, for crying out loud. Yes, it's very easy. It can be very easy for anyone to say right now that Manchester City have done it so many times in the past. They're going to do it again this season. But you see something about Manchester City, and even with Pep and his teams, sometimes those players just get lackadaisical. And because they're so used to winning, I mean, they're currently pregnant and overflowing. They've won every major trophy in one calendar year that they probably haven't won in their history before. Talking about the Club World Cup and the UEFA Super Cup. They are drunk on it. So it's up to the players to step up. But then again, we've seen the frailties in Manchester City. There's no Kevin De Bruyne. Haaland struggles to score goals. They struggle for creation of goals. Rodri does not play. The team crumbles.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? Look at Aston Villa right now. They are fine. They are in a bad patch, but they are competitive. Liverpool, in my own opinion, cannot win the title because their defense is shit. Absolutely nonsense. You can't win every Premier League game by scoring more goals than the opponent. It's not possible.
All right.
So just like he said, the competition is wide open.
Yeah,
and in due time, as we get into the January transfer window, especially after Asian Cup and AFCON, that's when we can start talking about who are the real title contenders or not.
All right, let the last questions goes to Ease, and that's how we're going to wrap up the show because we are going straight to the Twitter to listen to the great man, the legend. That's Christian Shuku on our Twitter X. We want to actually listen to some of the part of the story. We don't know, but we watched the game, but we want to hear, what happened at those period of time. The questions goes to you by someone said question, Ease, goes to you. What expectation did Arsenal give to Arteta this season? Secondly, if Arteta failed to win the league this season, should he be sacked or retained? Goes to you, Ease.
First of all, I knew 30 minutes was not going to be enough. Never. When you're having this kind of conversation. But quickly, I'll just use one stone to, attack two birds. I intentionally told someone to go on this show and look at it. The person doesn't support any EPL team. He doesn't support any EPL team. He's an elder statesman. And I didn't give the person any preemption of whatever. I just told him there's a conversation. I need you to just look at it, analyze it, and while the show is on, give me feedback. And the person just sent me a chat that who is this guy called Prof? Why does he hate Arsenal so much? Let me just read his message. And he said, didn't he hear you when he said 5 teams are in competition or are in the title race? Why is he picking out only Arteta? Why is he not picking out the Aston Villa coach and the Spurs coach? So, just to rebuttal on what he said, because it's obvious. Like I said, my focus this year is to have a balanced discussion. And I was trying to make a point. I just went on Google and I checked the full table right now. So after 20 games, Liverpool are drawn 6 games. That is 12 points dropped. They've lost 1. So the Liverpool and the Man City have lost 3 and drawn 4. That is 8 plus 9. That is 17 points dropped. Arsenal have drawn 4, 8 points, and lost 4, 20 points dropped. 20, 17, and how many did I count for Liverpool? If you look at it, the margin is not that wide. The margin is not. I just picked these 3 teams because they are the most populous teams among the 5 that I mentioned initially that are open for the title race. I didn't say only Liverpool or Man City. So if you look at it, the margin is very close. You cannot just subjectively say that this is the team that would win. Looking with benefit of hindsight, looking at what has happened for the past 20 games, this season is not like last season. And in this case, I'm not trying to make a case for Arsenal because, yes, Arsenal is in the mix. It hurts an Arsenal fan. It hurts me as an Arsenal fan that we didn't win the title last season. But right now, the race is wide open. I had to put Tottenham in the mix because the points difference is just 6 from the top. Liverpool joined 2 games and Tottenham winning 2 games consecutively changed the whole landscape to just 2 points difference. So what are we talking about here? So at this point, I think we should just calm down.
We should calm down.
Nerves.
Yeah.
Whatever ideology or whatever issue we have with Arteta or Arsenal, you cannot just categorically say he's not going to win the league or he's going to fail. To the question, what is the expectation? Yeah. Mind you, it is a process. We all know it's been stated. It's been drummed and drummed over and over again. And I'm so happy that Prof mentioned that Arteta is a young manager. And the question is, people, why is it that you fail to give Arteta that credit for what he has done within the space of 3.5 years? Because the team he met with, he took over from Unai Emery. He didn't sign any player. He worked with those teams. He worked with that team, won the FA Cup. Now, after that season, yes, I know I'm going to round up. After that season, he started signing his own players. So 3.5 into his project, and you can see what he has been able to do. I'll point out the positives. Qualified Arsenal for the Champions League after 6-7 years. Got close into vying for the title. These are positives. A young manager, like it has been said in quotes. And now, the season which everybody felt, okay, what he did last season, it was going to take it a top notch ahead. Competition has added up. competition has gone on the increase. You have teams like Aston Villa, teams like Liverpool, teams like Tottenham coming into the mix. If we're not careful, teams like Newcastle will also come into the mix. Despite their poor run of form, you can see the difference between the European spots with where Chelsea lie right now is 6 or 7 points, if I'm not mistaken. So the competition has increased this season. So for us to just come here and say Arteta does not know what he's doing, the expectation, if he doesn't win the EPL, that means sack him. I just feel it's too harsh. And I feel football management doesn't work that way. Yes, he might have been given an expectation, but we don't know what the expectation is. Is it to qualify for the Champions League? We don't know. Is it to win the title? We don't know. But if he wins the title, why not? It's the cherry on the cake. And all Arsenal fans would love it. So for me, to balance this, calmer, 20 games into the season, let us look at them. I'm not taking anything away from Liverpool. Neither am I taking anything away from Man City. But like I said, the race is wide open. Who knows? Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Okay, do you agree?
My final
Anything
thought.
can happen. Eh?
1 minute. My final thought.
Anything can happen. I gotta go.
My final thought. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. My final thought is, if what I wrote on it already at the beginning of last season, and Ope read it when I said Arteta might be a victim of his own near
He's
success.
calling Arteta again.
Hold on. The
I gotta go.
This show is about
He's
Arteta.
calling
It's about
Arteta
Arsenal.
again.
It's not about Emery. It's about Arsenal.
Come on. Look
let's
at
go.
it. The title race.
It's about Arsenal.
Come on, man.
Let's go. All right. We got to catch up next week. We call it impromptu show. Thank you so much. Okay. Thanks, man. Prof. One love. All right. We got to go. Guys, catch up on Twitter right now. We want to listen to what's going on at the Twitter handle. Please subscribe to the channel. Smash the like on the video. As I said, impromptu show. Club Focus is all about us now. Next will be Manchester United. And join us next week. Same time. One love, people. Bye for now.